Thank you for tuning in. JL Palmer here, and we have another podcast episode for you. Have you ever had so many ideas swimming around in your head that you had no idea where to start and really couldn't get them out of your brain fast enough? That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. So I am using StreamYard to capture some information here I'd love to share with you. I asked ChatGPT. I could have asked any IA. It could have been Claude. It could have been Grok to analyze a couple of my favorite podcasts. And those podcasts, let me see here. I got to change the screen. How do I get this to switch over? I don't know if this is working when I do this. We'll have to see. Have to see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of the podcasts. So anyway, here it is. The Stephen Bartlett Diary of a CEO, which is the DOAC, and Mel Robbins podcast. I said, give me the podcast framework because I love the structure of these podcasts. So there's one. Oh, that's not it. Let's get to the
Instead of setting up a green screen, you can just click a button into script and get the same
friendship. It's really hard right now. And there are specific steps.
And then this is going to be so imperfect and I don't care. And that's the whole point is
our bodies get very weak. For example, stick your arm out and say, I love.
Two podcasts that I absolutely adore right now. And so the breakdown that I got for the framework on these was very enlightening, and I love sharing that. It gave me both of these shows are extremely strategic, which is great. Strategy is fantastic. Don't get hung up on it, right? If you're new to podcasting, that's the other thing. Are you a podcaster or would you like to be? And I cannot see the downsides of not being a podcaster right now. Even if you have to do it with a little bit of privacy attached or create an anonymous podcast as close as you possibly can, because ultimately you're going to create the podcast on a device. That device is going to have the memory of you having created it. So there's metadata that gives locations and internet IPS or ISP. Anyway, again, not perfect. So anyway, back to this. Jumping around. These are conversationally architectured strategic podcasts. They have emotion, they have identity connection, they have clip extraction, they have built authority, they have, like me, people binge listen to these, and they're transformation-based loyalty. So let's go to this one here. This one is Martha.
I love fresh air.
There you go.
Now,
and Stephen Bartlett. So he combines therapy, entrepreneurship, confessions, philosophy, curiosity, high status guests like Martha Beck, Oprah's coach, right? Life coach, because she probably has more than one coach, and the cinematic tension. So what happens for listeners is they feel, and it's designed this way so that what happens is they get access to truths and successful people that successful people normally hide. That it's very, very intentional. It creates intimacy, it creates significance. Okay. So then when we go to, there's so much more to this. Like, this is I'm just scratching the surface of the framework here. But those are the things that are extremely important. And I want to model after what I am drawn to. So if I'm drawn to this and I feel connected to it, there are others that will be also. So if we take a look at, I want to take a look at the Mel Robbins podcast here, because it also has some of the similar qualities. And so is there a reason they're my top two favorites, right? So I want to get to the blurb piece right here. All right. Come on. I don't think I'll edit this out either, because I'm surfing through the information I was given on this analysis, and I think it's going to be so valuable. So let's go to the Mel Robbins podcast.
That you can take and simple habits that will make new connections appear. And
okay, now I'm going to tell you this. A few years back, a friend of mine sent me a link to the Mel Robbins information, and I was in podcasting at the time. And I'm sorry, Mel, I was not your raving fan back then. And I don't know what it was. I was in a space in my life where I wasn't receptive to more information coming in. And I didn't need a coach. I was overwhelmed by everything. Everything. I think I still am to a degree. Anyway, I'm a raving fan now. So that's the way it goes. We evolve. Hold it against me. Don't hold it against me. That'd be wonderful. So your framework, Miss Mel Robbins, Mrs. You have a very different structure. So you're more about practical informational coaching for us overwhelmed individuals. Imagine that. Whereas Stephen has like some more mystery and depth and exploration. You're more about, according to this analysis anyway, safety, momentum, and implementation. So you automatically begin with a common frustration, an emotional overwhelm, a self-sabotage, anxiety, procrastination type of lead-in for the listener. And it's the listener goes, that's me. And then you have us hooked. So you're constantly saying things like, we're not alone. This is human. This is how the brain works. Everyone struggles with this. And it's very, very important psychologically, because you reduce shame immediately. And that translates into stuff I'm extremely into, which is the neuroscience, the psychology, and the behavioral science, right? Simple, memorable, repeatable. It's fantastic. And then we have Stephen, who does more of the exploratory conversation. You're so direct. You're my friend, you're my coach, you're my mentor, you're my big sister, and you're talking directly to me, even though you have a guest. So this is something that came up in the guest podcast that the one coming back that I've guested on, where, hello, listeners, it's very important that you're feeling something here and that this episode resonates with you. It's not just about me sitting here blabbing. It's about, what am I giving you in this conversation? And then if I'm having a conversation with someone else, when I'm hosting or they're hosting me, what are the two of us together creating that adds value for the listener? I think this is very, very, very important. What else can I share here? So my opportunity in all of this becomes creating a framework for my podcast and for my podcast auditing services that is idea and emotional connection focused. So I lean into emotional truth, memorable human moments, stop editing the human out, listener transformation, and conversational depth. So I'm studying the mechanics of how that works and how to make shows that work within this framework. So retention, emotional pacing, memorable moments, vulnerability architecture, and identity-based conversation. So the difference is that I'm analyzing these two podcasts, okay, from a human connection audit perspective rather than purely growth hacking. And I hope it adds value. If you want the full breakdown on what I got when these podcasts were analyzed, I'm happy to share it. So just shoot me a message somehow, comment on the show. What happens here is that every episode is built for repurposing, right? So that's very, very intentional. And it's a big part of creating podcasts that matter. The consistent tone and pacing, emotional intensity. This is very, very helpful in preventing listener fatigue. Okay, friends, I just needed to get that out. I just needed to share this, and happy to add, what happens here in these two podcasts is they don't start with credentials. So it's not about, oh, I want to tell you how important I am, even though Mel Robbins is like the number one top female podcaster currently. And Mr. Stephen Bartlett there is creating a massive enterprise with his. They both start with emotion, struggle, and identity. So there's also pattern interrupts, right? So that's where the tone and pacing and the emotional intensity comes in. So all of the structure comes down to what they actually do within their show. So the big differences between the two of them, where the core element is feeling. The Diary of the CEO is depth, and Mel Robbins is relief. Okay. The listener experience is exploration for the Diary of the CEO. For Mel Robbins, it's coaching. Structure becomes long-form emotional storytelling for the Diary of the CEO. And Mel Robbins, it's practical transformation. Hook style is curiosity and tension for DOAC, and relatability and pain is for MR. The goal for DOAC is fascination, whereas for MR it's action. Energy is cinematic and intense for DOC, and MR it's warm and direct. So you can see how, even though the structures here are quite different, they actually have some of the same followers and same listeners. So there's more. There's so much more. So get the report from me, so if you're a podcaster, so that you can see some of the fabulous things that you can implement and model in this space, because podcasting, it can be for everyone, even if you don't want to be out there with your face like me. Okay. Thank you for listening. Catch you on the next one.